Today, my dear sisters and brothers, we celebrate the feast of one of the apostles of Christ, John, the evangelist, who in the gospel is also called the beloved disciple. Alam po ninyo, maraming kwento tungkol kay John the Evangelist or John the Beloved Disciple ang nagtuturo sa atin ng kanyang pagiging unique bilang alagad ni Jesus. At isa po diyan ang narinig natin sa mabuting balita today. Huwag nating iisipin na pagkapanganak ni Jesus, agad ay tumawid tayo sa kwento ng kanyang muling pagkabuhay. Pero ang lahat ng ito ay bahagi ng malalim na pagninilay sa misteryo ng ating pananampalataya. Isa ho sa mga unique, kamangha-mangha, at interesting na katangian nitong alagad ni Jesus na ito ay ang ipinakita sa mabuting balita. We heard in the gospel the story of the first day of the resurrection. And we are familiar with the story. It was Mary Magdalene who discovered first that the tomb where Jesus was originally laid was empty. Walang laman. At kanya po itong nireport sa mga alagad ni Jesus, first kay Peter, being the leader of the disciples, of the apostles. At sila'y pumunta na dali-dali doon sa tomb. Peter discovered that what Mary was telling about was true. And also John, whom the Lord loves. He was not named John in the gospel for our information. He was named as the disciple whom Jesus loved. And what is interesting about the story was this. At the end of the gospel story, it was said that this beloved disciple saw and believed. Now, what is interesting is that there is no one to be seen. Wala po doon yung dapat makita, di ho ba? Wala doon si Jesus. And yet the gospel says, he saw and believed. It is as if the beloved disciple could see beyond what the physical eyes can see. Now, this is not an isolated case in the life of the beloved disciple because mangyayari po uli ito sometime when Jesus would appear again before the disciples at the lake of Tiberias. The same gospel, Gospel of John, on the third post-resurrection appearance of Jesus, muling magpapakita siya sa kanyang mga alagad. At doon sa kwentong yon, when the disciples went back to their original occupation as fishermen, one morning they decided to go fishing. At habang sila'y nangingisda, magdamag silang nagtry, pero hindi sila nakahuli. I think you know the story. At biglang nandun si Jesus. Nakipag-usap sa kanila, right? Si Jesus nasa pangpang, ang mga alagad nasa laot. Hindi malayo ang mga alagad o ang bangka ng mga alagad sa pangpang. Sapagkat alam natin na posible pang magkaintindihan at magkausap. Di ho ba? Nangungusap si Jesus sa mga alagad. Nakikipag-usap si Jesus sa kanyang mga alagad. But what is interesting about that story is that hindi nakilala ng mga alagad si Jesus. Do you recall the story? But there was one among them who shouted, "It is the Lord." Ang Panginoon yun. And guess who? That disciple who shouted. the beloved disciple. Hindi nakilala si Jesus sapagkat after the resurrection, Jesus assumed a new existence, a new mode of existence. Tinatawag po natin sa theology yan na yung kanyang existence, yung kanyang katawan, glorified body. A kind of existence that is not anymore limited by space and time. But yung kanyang bagong anyo is not to be easily recognized just by anyone. At alam natin yan because meron ding instance na tong si Jesus, after the resurrection, sumabay sa paglalakbay sa dalawang alagad papuntang Emmaus. Kausap na, kasabay na, pero hindi nakilala. Yun po yung bagong anyo ni Jesus after the resurrection. And so there is a need to have a new set of eyes in order to see Jesus after the resurrection. And it was the beloved disciple who had the facility. It was easy for him to recognize the glorified existence of the Lord after the resurrection. Now, may tatanong natin, bakit kaya? Why, of all the disciples, why did Peter, being the leader of the disciples, not see Jesus after the resurrection? Bakit si John, on the first day of the resurrection, was said to see and believe, even if the body of Jesus was not there? Bakit si John, although si Jesus nakikipag-usap sa mga alagad, was the one who first recognized it is the Lord? Maybe it has something to do with his relationship with the Lord, being the beloved disciple. Maybe it is love that makes one see the unseen. At yun yung edge ni John. He has the love for the Lord. And we know he has the love for the Lord because of all the disciples. When Jesus was crucified, only one remained at the foot of the cross. It was John, the beloved disciple. Everybody else fled for fear that they might end up in the same fate as Jesus. Only John remained, proving that he had this deep relationship with the Lord. He really loved the Lord, and the Lord loves him back. So it is love that makes us see what the physical eyes could not see. Kaya nga magtataka tayo minsan, halimbawa, merong may magkasintahan, yung isa napakaganda, yung isa naman, pasintabi po, napakapangit. At minsan iisipin natin, ano kayang nakita nung magandang ito dun sa napakapangit na yon? And then, sasabihin natin, totoo nga pala ang kasabihang, love is blind. Naniniwala ho ba kayo doon? That love is blind. Sapagkat ako po, hindi ako naniniwala. I think it is the other way around. It is love that sees beyond. It is love that transcends. Baka tayo yung bulag na hindi natin nakikita the worth of that person na nakita nitong isang magandang umiibig sa kanya. It is love that makes us see beyond what our physical eyes can see. I think this is the lesson that the character of John the Evangelist, also known as the beloved disciple, na iniiwan ho sa atin. To look at our surroundings, look at our brothers and sisters, regard them not just with our physical eyes, but also with the eyes of love. Ito nga po siguro ang dahilan kung bakit minsan hindi natin napapansin ang ating kapwa. Ito siguro minsan ang dahilan kung bakit kahit yung higit na nangangailangan, hindi natin nakikita. Maybe the reason is because we lack that one thing that the beloved disciple has. It is love. Now, my dear sisters and brothers, I think it is providential that we are reflecting on the character of Saint John, the evangelist, and also known as the beloved disciple, looking at what is unique in him, his love for the Lord. Now that we are entering, the year, the special year in the church, the Jubilee year. Kamakailan, noong 24, sinimulan ho natin ang Jubilee year sa buong simbahan. At siguro alam ho natin ang tema ng Jubilee year, Pilgrims of Hope. It so happened when we open our Bible to the letter to the Hebrews chapter 11, hope is defined this way. Hope is faith in things unseen. Maybe we are invited by Saint John, the beloved, the evangelist, to welcome this Jubilee year not only with hope, but also with love. Because as hope is faith in things unseen, as the letter to the Hebrews would tell us, John proved to us that it is love who can see beyond what the physical eyes can see. Let this be our reflection.